Ladies and gentlemen, in the last 2 days, there has been a very quick, short-lived development on the Bitcoin chart, a brief fluctuation below this very important resistance line previously and now support line going right backwards from 2017, cutting through the 2021 all-time highs, and you can see it right here, marking our breakout point and the next macro leg that started for Bitcoin. That level was very quickly, again, very briefly lost. We wicked down below it and came right back up, which highlighted the importance of the $110,000 region that I mentioned the other day. That $110,000 region is really going to be the turning point for Bitcoin to the downside if it is broken. This level in yellow, although it does hold more relevance and significance on paper, in reality is actually a very distorted level now, and it's a level that you can get tricked at very easily. So we're going to look into that in this video. We'll also look into a lot of new stuff because we've discussed that before. Short-term price action will be delved into. And we'll look into a couple interesting things in regards to the next trigger point for the next upcoming move on Bitcoin, probably to the upside, and on Ethereum as well, both of which are coming from very important RSI structures on very long-term charts. And in the meantime, while we've seen these short-term downside fluctuations, which cause fear to a lot of people who don't know about the $110,000 region, we have also seen some very bullish flips across the total cryptocurrency market cap charts, whether it be the altcoin market cap chart and also the regular total cryptocurrency market cap chart. So we'll look into, again, the long term, look into the fail-safe region at 110,000. The short term, we'll discuss the potential trigger points for the next move, and we'll discuss the altcoin market more broadly. Before we dive into it today, please go ahead and leave me a question if you're interested. Go to my YouTube page right here, click on the posts section. I've said, ask me a question about the market that you would like to see answered in an upcoming video. If you have any questions about Bitcoin, altcoins, macroeconomy, or traditional markets, drop them there. And in tomorrow's video, I'll answer it in video format. Before we get into it, check out the Bitunix Exchange. A lot of people ask me what exchange I use as a trader. I use the Bitunix Exchange, and I don't have a contract with them. I haven't signed anything with them. I don't work for them. I advertise them on my own accord. With my referral link down below, you can get a 15% trading fee discount permanently attached to your account, as well as up to 8,000 USDT in rewards just by signing up with my link down below. Why would you sign up? Well, it's global, it's non-KYC, it's never been hacked before, it's got all of the functions and pairs that you would expect for a major exchange. For that reason, I use it. And I implore you to consider using it as well. Sign up with my link to help out the channel, help out yourself. Cheers. So this yellow support line, previously a resistance line, in fact, it was the breakout line that I was looking at for literally months on end on Bitcoin. Ever since this retest back here in December, I was saying we needed to break that zone for Bitcoin to confirm the next upside macro leg and for the altcoin market to see any degree of strength. And I was proven correct. When we broke that level, we saw dramatic altcoin market strength. We saw Ethereum continue to triple Bitcoin's performance. All right, that's a very true fact. It's something that's very relevant, especially when you're planning your investments. But now that level has actually flipped for support. We're now consolidating on top of that level after rejecting briefly from $124,000, which is a hidden resistance level actually. It's a resistance level that I call hidden because it's not obviously represented on any of the historical price action. We've never been this high before on Bitcoin. This is price discovery, but it is a level that's represented and very clearly demonstrated on things like the power law chart on Bitcoin, specifically the green line on the power law chart, which shows resistance clearly at 124,000, and also being represented here on this logarithmic angle-based returns chart on Bitcoin. You can see this angle-based channel, the angle of ascension between tops and bottoms halves each cycle. All we need to do is extrapolate that trend forward, and we see there is resistance at 124,000, independently verifying 124,000 as resistance via the Powerwall chart and this channel right here. So if you understood nothing I said there, it doesn't really matter. The point is there is resistance around 124, and there is support coming from this yellow line. But that doesn't mean we should just be looking at the yellow line for the breakdown point. Like if we drop below the yellow line, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're out of the bull market and everything crashes and we go into a bear market. It's not really how it works. And it's not how it works because when you're talking about a line that goes right backwards from 2017, you need a bit more than a few percent drop below it to trigger an actual breakdown. Or an actual valid breakdown. And that's seen, by the way, just by the fact that we actually wicked above it in 2021 on two separate occasions. So if we wicked above it in 2021 on two separate occasions, we can certainly wick below it here. on a couple of occasions as well. That wouldn't be outside of the ordinary at all. This is more likely to be a vague resistance line or a vague support line than something that is exact due to the time frame in which it's been around and the price regions for which it covers. We have to remember this line actually started way back when Bitcoin was at 20,000. So we can't be treating it as an exact, precise line like you would with a short-term chart. It's been around for too long. It's covered too long of a price range. We can wick up and below it. And that's because there is, high interest in this region given this line. And of course, there's going to be a lot of fake outs for that reason. A lot of traps, a lot of manipulation. So what I'm actually looking for a downside break validation on Bitcoin, again, when I say looking for, I don't mean I'm predicting it. I think that Bitcoin will go upwards, but this is kind of my fail-safe zone. It's the zone that I don't want Bitcoin to drop below. It's the zone that if Bitcoin drops below, I will flip bearish, right? Is 110,000. And 110,000 from my perspective is a logical region to look at because it's around where this yellow line is, but it's actually the next most relevant support zone below the yellow line. So I'm actually looking at the yellow line as the important region, but I'm acknowledging that we can fake out below the yellow line. But during a fake out, you don't necessarily see a drop below the line in question and the line below the line in question, right? That's not a fake out anymore. That's a valid breakdown. So 110,000, clear neckline of resistance back here. Therefore, it's going to be a clear neckline of support in future. And therefore, that is going to be my downside validation line. If we drop below 110,000, I won't necessarily be claiming we're in a bear market, but I would certainly be raising eyebrows and thinking that Bitcoin is in a very strange position. I don't expect that we would need to go below 110,000 is my main point. And my secondary point is that this brief fake out below this yellow line from 2017, I don't think means anything at all. I think it's just a brief fake out, exactly what it seems to be. If we zoom into the short-term charts and we look into, again, this yellow line is the one that goes back from 2017. We're just on the hourly chart now. We look at this triangle formation in pink that formed. We can see a very clear breakdown from that triangle, a retest of that triangle for resistance, but then a double bottom occurs and we see the selling pressure was simply not enough to drag that price action for downside even further. We've got back within the triangle now. So that's actually a very good sign of strength, and it shows that yellow line is holding for for support. So the short-term developments have been positive in my view, even though it came with a fake out. I don't think that fake out was unprecedented. In fact, I expected it. And the inability, I should say, for the bears to drag the price below that yellow line definitively has actually brought to my attention even more so the trigger points for the next actual breakout on Bitcoin. So right now we're still consolidating, but what I do see is a breakout potential coming from the 2-week chart RSI. We have a triangle formation on the 2-week chart RSI, which we're testing right now for resistance. And again, if we break $124,000, we will probably break that region as well, and that will give the momentum Bitcoin needs to take a jump to the next price level. Who knows what that will be? It could be 130, could be 140. It's very difficult to find out, but the next level will be swiftly captured if we break this 2-week RSI resistance, in my view. And the same thing can be said about Ethereum, by the way, which Ethereum, as we've mentioned previously in this channel, is actually outperforming Bitcoin to a degree of 3. Okay, it's tripling Bitcoin's performance. We look at its performance since April, it is upwards about 180%, while Bitcoin since April is only upwards, I believe, about 60-something%. Let's just measure that quickly. Yeah, about 64%. So Ethereum is tripling Bitcoin's performance. Ethereum, however, is breathing right now. It's taking breathing room, and just like Bitcoin is, it's actually finding resistance just like Bitcoin is, in the sense that Bitcoin has resistance from its 2-week chart RSI. Ethereum has a very similar resistance zone coming from its 1-month chart RSI, and I expect both these resistance zones will break at the same time, but I do expect that when they break, Ethereum will continue to outperform Bitcoin due to how the money flow cycle in cryptocurrency works. Okay, when we're in a cryptocurrency bull market like this, in this phase, and when we've seen Ethereum proven to be outperforming Bitcoin dramatically, there's no reason to expect that to stop. When that kind of lever has been pulled, it continues, right? People are seeing Ethereum and the altcoin market, more broadly speaking, as more important and more profitable and engaging investments than Bitcoin at this period of time. They see the market as bullish, being led by Bitcoin, but they see Bitcoin potential returns as much lower. And given the fact they're in a optimistic mindset, why would they choose Bitcoin over Ethereum or altcoins? It makes perfect sense from a logical perspective as well as a mathematical perspective. So the point is, there are trigger points here for Bitcoin and for Ethereum that will be crossed, that will be triggered when Bitcoin breaks 124,000. And those trigger points will give Bitcoin the steam it needs to move even further to the upside, and will give altcoins and the Ethereum to move even further to the upside, but even more so than Bitcoin does. So the altcoin season, in my view, will continue, and perhaps more money will actually trickle down into altcoins, because currently it's been primarily isolated to Ethereum. But overall, this short-term correction we've seen, this short-term pullback we've seen, has actually highlighted even further how strong of a position the macro market is in, or the market is in on the macro, I should say. The total 3 cryptocurrency market cap briefly dropped below 1 trillion, which is obviously a psychological support level in yellow. It dropped below it very briefly, but we've got that daily candle close right on top of 1 trillion. In fact, literally at 1 trillion, and we're bouncing from that region right now. It's an excellent sign. We've flipped a support zone there, and the same thing can be said about the total cryptocurrency market cap, which again dropped downwards quite significantly, but basically landed right on top of a prior resistance zone, flipped that level for support, and we can probably expect upside price action from here. So broader markets, or broader charts, I guess charts that kind of represent the broader market, I should say, have flipped major levels on this short-term correction, further highlighting the fact that the correction was not bad at all. In fact, it's probably a good thing. So overall, we've seen a short-term fake out below a very important support line, but it was not a bad thing. In fact, it was very much expected. It didn't really mean anything for the bears. The bears gained no territory there. They tested their luck and they failed. And overall, this drop has actually highlighted how strong of a position the market is in. So things are looking quite good right now. But before you jump the gun, please know that we're not actually in a, bullish move right now as we speak. We won't be until we break 124,000. Right now, we are in a consolidation, but a consolidation with a very optimistic undertone in my point of view, especially for Ethereum and the altcoin market, but also for Bitcoin, just on a smaller scale. Just want to take a moment to clarify here, because I think I might have led you a little bit astray. I've said it in many videos before, and you should be aware of it by now if you listen to this YouTube channel, but I don't actually think we're in a broad altcoin season right now as we speak. I think we are in basically an Ethereum season, and I think that Ethereum is the leader of the altcoin market, and if that bullishness in the market continues, we should see the broader altcoin market take off. But right now, it has been, pretty specifically isolated to Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin, and altcoins and Bitcoin are kind of doing the same thing, right? Altcoin market, generally speaking, is up about 70%. So is Bitcoin. Ethereum's up 180%. So we're not actually in a broader altcoin season right now. But generally, when you see Ethereum do this, it is basically what happens just before an altcoin season. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Please leave a like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for future updates. I'll obviously keep you updated on the market, as I've done for the last 4 years at this point. If you have a question to ask me, go ahead and drop it there under that post. I'll answer it tomorrow. And check out the Bitunix Exchange. I really appreciate that. A lot of people ask me what exchange I use as a trader. I use the Bitunix Exchange, and I don't have a contract with them. I haven't signed anything with them. I don't work for them. I advertise them on my own accord. With my referral link down below, you can get a 15% trading fee discount permanently attached to your account, as well as up to 8,000 USDT in rewards just by signing up with my link down below. Why would you sign up? Well, it's global. It's non-KYC. It's never been hacked before. It's got all of the functions and pairs that you would expect for a major exchange. For that reason, I use it. And I implore you to consider using it as well. Sign up with my link to help out the channel, help out yourself. Cheers.